Let me make sure. Okay, cool. I'm like kind of nervous. hmm Yeah. Yeah, just let me know when you want me to mute myself. Or... Works for me.
Perfect. One day, folks, this will be perfect. Let me fix these settings back to what they were. Oh my goodness. Okay. You can hear me, but you can't see me. In just a moment, maybe you will be able to. Where is that face cam? Where's that face camera? Awful start. There we go. Welcome, folks, to the 11th episode of the PureJoy Podcast. This is a bi-weekly exploration into what brings people joy, something that I look forward to every other week to do another one of these and then to spend the time going over it repeatedly again in the next week to edit it. Always a time that I look forward to, and this episode is no different. So, and our intros are so short now, there's really nothing to introduce. That is the podcast. That's what we're here for, folks. So we're going to introduce our guest. Her name is Bethany, Bethany Ann, and we will be flipping over here to see us both, maybe. Yay, and then I just turn on my camera here, and we're good to go. Hello, Bethany.
Hey, how's it going?
Doing well, doing good. How's your weekend?
It's been really awesome. Yeah, I'm painting a friend's house, so I've been painting all weekend, which I like.
Yeah, no, I love like the big project painting. Like I enjoy, painting a canvas, but I really enjoy like big project painting and just getting like paint messy.
changing the colors and watching it switch.
Yeah, what color are you moving to?
I'm
Or they
painting my
moving
friend's
to?
house this color. It's like a green.
Okay, okay. Yeah, it's like a nice dark green.
Yeah, like an evergreen.
I like it.
So
I like it.
I'm covered in evergreen all over my hands. So
Perfect, perfect. Well, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit to us here, and tell us who we're talking to today.
hey Al, I'm Bethany, and I'm from Chicago, but currently I live in Louisville. So I switched cities recently. Um, Currently my job status is I work a 9 to 5 for a tech company doing technical training and such. Um, and then I mean I hustle all the time. I'm trying to buy a house, so I've been
Okay.
keeping myself busy. But yeah, trying to think if there's anything else I need to bring up in my introduction. Sorry about that.
No, that's totally fine. That's totally fine. We like to start. We can even just dive right in. We like to start with a little bit of something that I've been calling a small joy, something that's brought you joy today.
Me and my friends all got chai teas and pie and went to Iroquois Park and sat in a blanket and just like hung out in the sun in the perfect weather. And
Oh, that is wonderful. That is incredible. It's finally like, I assume, is it possibly fall weather there, reaching cooler temperatures?
yeah, it's a little bit warmer than Chicago here. I would say it's like 10 to 15 degrees warmer than Chicago all
Okay.
the time. But we just like I took off my jacket, even just short sleeves, and laid in the sun. We brought out some picnic blankets and just hung out and listened to music.
Yeah,
And
no, that's very nice, even if it's a little warmer. That's very nice, and you got to like get some treats
yeah.
for the approach of fall. It sounds like. What kind of
Hmm.
pie did you
Oh, we
get?
got like 5 different slices.
Oh, okay, okay. What
So
was
we had
the
a
what was
sampler
your favorite
platter.
one?
There was like 3 of us. I think the strawberry pie was my favorite, honestly. I
Yes,
hadn't
yeah,
had a
yeah.
strawberry pie before.
I grew up, my mom baked as like her side hustle. She baked for a farmer's market and for several other like clients. She would pick up clients, and one of her specialties was her strawberry rhubarb pie.
Ooh, wish it
Absolutely
had
killer.
rhubarb. It was just strawberry. The second dinner was like the caramel apple. They had a
Hmm.
caramel apple pie.
Ooh, I do enjoy an apple pie. My personal
Mhm.
favorite is a pecan pie. Not that I had a pie, but my personal favorite pie is
Yeah,
pecan pie.
yeah, chocolate chip pecan is my
Ooh,
favorite.
yes, absolutely. My small joy today is that I got to rearrange, so I finally get to actually like do things. Initially, and for the past, I don't know, 6 months or so, my background has just been this painting up here, and it was behind a different wall. I've moved it to include it in my background, and now I get to like include all my little collectibles and all my little guys back there, and get I can come out and I can stand up, and nothing change. Like it's wild. I've not had this much room in ages, and getting this much room for myself didn't erase any of the room from the room. I just like turned my desk a little bit and it opened everything up. It's absolutely amazing. No loss, all gain. And it's nice in here now. I was getting kind of frustrated with how messy I was keeping my own area. And now it is no longer messy.
I love organizing. Like
Hmm.
that's like it just feels so good. It's like you're in a new apartment when you rearrange.
Exactly. Now I like look into the room, and I'm keep the door open now because it's like a nice flow in here. I'm into it. Um, so I was like really looking forward to coming down here so I could test it out, because this is the first time I've like used the space since I made it.
Yeah. I have my bar behind me.
Mm-hmm.
Typically I'd be in my office, but it has no overhead light. I live in a house with like 2 rooms that don't have overhead lights.
I
So,
assume that it would be also included no fans.
oh no, there's a fan, but they just
Oh,
didn't put a light up there.
okay. I assumed totally wrong then. They just had
Right?
different priorities.
They had different priorities, and like they did this woodwork in the molding, and I was like, oh man, they messed it up. They didn't they had different priorities. But
Different priorities.
yeah,
That's great.
like light would be one of my number one priorities, I think.
Definitely, definitely. Lights up there. Lights up there. I mean, if you're gonna put a ceiling fan in, just a ceiling fan with a light,
Yeah.
make it the ultimate utility.
hmm There's a ceiling fan with a light in my bedroom,
That's
so they
great.
knew that
Okay.
they existed.
They just chose to do it wrong for
Mhm.
this other moment. Incredible. Incredible.
They don't have to live here. It's landlords.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. So on to I think our topic of the episode. What in life brings you pure joy?
I have a lot of really big pure joys. I think there's two really big ones. Um, there's like my art and like working on building my own business. And then there's, of course, my hobby that I can't do right now, and it's mud wrestling. So,
Well, which one would you like to talk about today?
oh, I want to talk about both, but
We could find a way. I think we could find a way. You have two pure joys. Let's we'll do
yeah.
like a little split on the both of them. So
Mhm.
let's start with your arts and hobbies.
Yeah.
What kind of arts and hobbies are we talking about?
So I went to school for oil painting. And then I
Okay.
realized like mixed media, but the school I was at didn't offer that. Right now I do like a lot of embroidery. So I'm working on portraits right now, but I can do like plants and hands and trying to expand on that artwork because I like the mixed media. I can use different textures, I can use different substances and materials that way. So
Oh, interest like in embroidery, where does like mixed media come into to play?
I mean, you don't have to do just like the straightforward embroidery. You can do like new things now. Like you can make texture with like not having the string. I'll show you an example. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
So this I actually was embroidering on this table. So like, this thread in this one that I'm working on.
Yeah.
Um, most traditional embroidery is going to be like this flat stitches.
Uh-huh.
So just like taking that and working with it, different types of threads and different stitches and
Yeah.
different things I could potentially sew to it. I could do different fabrics if I wanted to. And
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I like that a lot. I like that a lot. You started by saying you went to school for oil painting.
Mhm.
Is that where you finished school as well?
I did not finish college.
Okay. Oh, no, no, no. Hey, so then yes, that is where I finished school.
That is where I technically finished school. I'm
Yeah.
an art school dropout.
That's okay.
Now I
That's
work for
okay.
tech. But this is what brings me joy. I have that 9 to 5 with tech, and then of course this, it's like just like it's not just embroidery. I love organizing and creating like a very like in sync space and uh using little found objects to make my own home space its own and custom, and finding ways to utilize simple things to make them into art if I can.
So, so maybe a little bit more on the deeper of this joy might be like using your artistic eye in the like in
Yeah.
wherever really, because it
Yeah.
sounds like you like to do a little bit of your personal interior design almost, and
Hmm.
embroidery, working with your hands. Is there other arts that fall into this joy as
um
well?
Trying to think of a good one. I mean, I don't think it would count essentially, but I build these shelves. I think you have one in your living
Oh,
room.
we do. Yeah, absolutely.
So like I just like do those two, like design different ways to like kind of customize the space. I guess a little bit on the artistic side and the interior design side. Just like
Yeah.
there's an art to it. Being creative is like pretty much the passion, I guess.
Yeah.
Pure joy.
Yeah, so being creative, you just you really really enjoy. Does this go into other parts of your life as well? Do you find a way to bring this into tech startup work, or
Kind of. I have to like create training videos for them. So like building layers of like images
yeah.
for those videos. So I mean, I guess in a way I do have a little technical like, graphic design on that end. It's not the root purpose of my job, but it is
Sure.
probably my favorite part of my job.
When you get
So,
to be artistic in it.
mhm,
Yeah,
mhm.
sure, sure.
Not answering emails all day long.
So what about this I think maybe just like being artistic. Why does this bring you so much joy?
It's always been my passion. It's been like my favorite subject all through school. I was good at it. My grandparents used to have their own like little art studio, so I would
Mm.
paint with them. So started when I was very little,
Yeah,
very,
so
very
you've been
small.
doing this for a long time. Has this evolved? It sounds like it's evolved a bit. It sounds like you said painting with them in their
Mhm.
in their studio. Are there other iterations of like Bethany as an artist that are out there?
So I don't paint anymore. Painting unfortunately isn't where, the future is as much for me. I feel like I did love it. It was my favorite to like do oil paintings. I think in school they tried to force me to use acrylics and I preferred oil paints at the time.
Sure do, yeah.
Um, because I like a lot of realism too. So I
Mhm.
like to make things look realistic. And I think pushing myself with painting, I can't do the abstract and I can't do, you know what I mean? Like the wild, crazy colors that I want to do. I want to do it, I struggle with that part of like the
Right.
artistic. I want to keep it like if I'm painting, I want it to be natural. I want it to be a little bit more organic and realistic.
Mhm.
And then with my embroidery, I can do the fun pop colors and a little bit
Yeah.
more different designs and different strategies. You know what I mean? Like so I think that my art has transformed from painting as realism to using like the more natural organic colors to wanting to like break out of that and do the more like pop colors with the embroidery and the shelves and the working with my hands a lot to
Yeah.
kind of manipulate things because I was never good at ceramics in art school. So, but I still like to I can manipulate string easier than I can clay.
Yeah, yeah. You like to build it up though.
Hmm.
From from its building blocks. Make it out of I don't even know where my brain was trying to go. You like to build it up from all these little pieces and
Hmm.
have like a finalized product that you can say like I built that. Um
Hmm.
I enjoy that as well when it's in your when your final product is sort of um un I always like lose the word I'm trying to go for, and then when I'm editing this in post, I am thinking of the word. I'm like, oh, that's the word I was trying to say. Why didn't I just say that word?
I
But
lose it all the
it's
time
sort of like
too.
unnoticeable as to what it was before. Um,
You'll think of it like halfway through. I do that too. I
yep,
space out and like I was gonna say.
exactly, exactly. I do that all the time. Some days is worse than others, but yeah. Anyway, so that's fantastic. You said you like to hustle a lot. And I know that you had mentioned to me before that some of this embroidery and this art was like a part of your business. And in fact, I know like we got the shelf from you. We've gotten Kenna has there's like a little
Embroidery.
okay, cool. That okay,
That was
you were
me. Yeah.
talking about doing embroidery and I was like it would be wild if she got embroidery from someone at this point if I'm talking to a friend and it like wasn't the embroidery friend as well. That would have been wild. Um
That was me. She helped me like when she helped me move that one day I gave her.
yes. Okay. Yeah, yeah. Absolutely. It's adorable. It's up on our little shelf in our living room.
Mhm.
And then we use your shelf on the other side of the living room. You're on either side of our living room.
Yeah.
So you have turned this joy of yours, this hobby, this artistic eye into a side hustle. Talk a little bit about is this it, has it hmm. It seems as if possibly the side hustle has evolved a little bit over the course of you having it from shelves to embroidery. How yeah, talk to us a little bit about that journey.
Yeah, it's, you always think when you're younger, you know what you want to do. And the more I've grown with my art and with my work and my career and the way I'm going forward, I realized, like, my pure joy is being able to create like an artistic space. Like interior design is a form of art, you know what I mean? Like just visualizing what could be is art in itself. And it could be anything. It could be, art can be, performance art, art can be
Absolutely.
um collages, it can be painting, it can be wood burning, it could be, in clothing design.
Yep.
And I really love the aspect of like organizing and creating a space that makes you feel joy. So I like giving others joy.
Yeah.
And so I just like I want to build my career eventually to where I don't have to have that corporate 9 to 5, and all I do is create these happy spaces for people and bring art into it, and do
Hmm.
custom embroideries and do custom shelvings for people and kind of elaborate and go deeper into that, because that would be a dream come true, just to create all day long,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
just
create art for people and knowing that it's
Mhm,
like it's not just like I'm doing this cuz I want to and then what? It's like this there's a means to an end on top of getting to do this thing that I'm loving to do.
mhm.
100%, 100%. Would you care to share? Do you have like a website people can go to if they're interested
I
to
thought
buy?
about what I would name my business if I had a business,
Uh-huh.
and I can't think of the name. Maybe you could help me. I don't
Okay.
know.
Uh Oh man, I will, but I that'll take me some time. I'll start coming up with really fun
Yeah,
names though. I
yeah.
absolutely will. Do you
I
have I
thought
mean,
about
is there a place that people can go, or is it just like you make this for people that you know and offer it to? In which case it's totally
so
fine.
I have a personal Instagram, and the problem was I wanted to make a business one, and I thought maybe I should have it ready when I go talk to people about
I
what my joy
see.
is, but I
Okay.
can't think of a name. And
Okay.
so I
So
don't have an
that's the step
Instagram
we're
for it.
at. I see.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I see. Well
So,
then,
like, 'cause
maybe we
that's like
can maybe chat a little bit over this week. I can come up with some fun names. You can pitch me a little bit about, like give me a little blurb about what you think your business is about, and then I can pitch you some names. I'm also you do graphic art for your job, so you got imagery there. That's great.
yeah,
Fantastic. Okay, yeah, yeah. We can talk about that, and then maybe by the time we put the episode up, I can put like a little link in the description to your
yeah,
your little business Facebook or,
yeah,
or
that's, like,
Instagram.
the biggest struggle, because coming up with a business name is, like, it has to be unique, it has to be, like, interesting,
Mm-hmm.
it has to be personal, and it's hard to come up with that. Like, I think it's gonna be something design, you know what I mean, to, like, kind of encompass all of my joys, but it's like it's such a big commitment too. It's like, what? Because like then you gotta make an email for it, and
You
then you gotta make
do.
business cards for
And the
it.
moment you do any of those things, it feels so much more set in stone. But you
Mhm,
can't
mhm.
you can't like really start to do anything with it until you do those beginning steps. It's like a weird circle. I've been trying to get a bunch of those set up for another podcast actually that I'm beginning and just like creating another new email. That was like the worst part of doing it again is I was like, "Oh no, I remember all this work I went through with this first one. It took me weeks of going through servers, and I'm glad I like know how to do it now. It did not take me weeks, but I just like was dreading it, having to go through email setup and like find the ways that all the names work together and goodness. So I totally understand. But if maybe if possible, I might be able to lend a hand this next week, and maybe we can put a little link in the description for anyone interested.
Maybe
Um,
I'll think of something. It'll come to me one day, and I'll be like, "That's perfect."
mhm, 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 mhm,
And
mhm.
it thinks so long
Well, then we'll
to get
keep
that word
We'll
for.
keep the listeners informed, possibly. I could even put it in a future one, be like, oh, and then by the way, if you remember Bethany's episode, here's the link. We've got it now.
Sorry, we have a friend joining us,
Who's this?
Callie.
This is Callie. Adorable. I wish my cat was interested in being on the camera.
She
Yeah.
loves it. She wants attention.
So do you use a lot of your we have this shelf that you built, and for as like a little description, it's a square wooden platform with like almost like a braided very thin for a rope, but like a braided rope hanging, and then some nice ropey
Cord.
dangles.
Yeah.
Cord.
Tassels.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Tassels. There's the words. All the words I was looking for. Yeah, do you do you use these around your own home? Do you have like your own personal Bethany designs on them?
Ironically, I don't. All my like a bunch of my friends buy them for me and use them in their home. But for some reason, I don't have one yet for myself. I think it's like I've liked ones. Like I really like that one you have actually.
Yeah.
But then when someone's like, I'll offer you money for it. Kind of was like, I'll offer you money for it. I'm like, here, take it.
It's yours.
It's
It's
yours now.
yours.
Yeah.
I like money as a trade. This is good.
Yeah. Every time I have a design I like, I'll post it online just to see, like, does anyone want it? And I'm like, will anyone like it? And then like people are like, I want it. And I'm like, well, there it goes. It's going to another home, not meant for my home. So one day one will be meant for my
One
home.
day, one day.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's think here.
I have a bunch of new designs too with different colors now and like golds and greens and different thread colors too.
Yeah, branching out a little bit.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you got to start with your vision at first, and then you realize like what you can do to it once you've
Hmm.
begun working on it. Um, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it just grows and it just is going to keep growing. I have so many new designs now that once I get that Instagram up, I will post them on there with my embroidery, um, and every bit of art that I do. I
Yeah,
really need to get it out there. Need to launch it off. And
just
I thought
share
about
it.
it. Yeah.
Just as a way to yeah, absolutely. um it's always good seeing art from artists that find so much joy in it, because there's like a large skew of artists out there, some people that just do it because they know that they can make money, and other
Hmm.
people that just like don't and love doing it. And there's a
Hmm.
wide range, and you could love doing it and still make money off of it, sure. But yes, wide range, and I just really love finding an artist that when you see the pieces and you see the art, whatever it be, that you can see that they really enjoy doing what they're doing, that's really what this is for, and that making money off of it is secondary in the end to
Hmm.
this joy that they have found. um
Yeah, yeah, I don't even like have people set up to buy any of them. I'm just making them. And
mhm
if they do, they do. If not, I enjoyed making it.
mhm
And
mhm
if not, I might have some extra to give to a friend as a gift, which I
Yeah,
did.
sure. That's actually not bad. Then you're like ready for birthdays. Look at this cool shelf
Yeah.
I made you.
Like, I made you this custom embroidery. Um, it's all for you.
I thought of you only when making it. Obvious.
Don't tell my friends.
um, no, it's fantastic. It's good to be able to, I think, find a way to like provide as well for yourself with something that brings you joy. It makes it easier to keep doing it. It makes it easier to like, if you were to have to fully rely on that and you were able to, I think it would make it easier to quote unquote go to work every day. Not that you don't love your job, not that you still can't have a job outside of that. It's just, if that were the way, it's just it makes it easier to get into that track, to go to work on it.
Yeah, it's like I'm guaranteed money for my job, my 9 to 5.
Sure.
Um, and then trying to find that energy to do it in my spare time is awesome. It always feels good.
Mhm.
Someday it'd be nice to just do it whenever I feel like it, and that be what does it all for me, and not have to do that 9 to 5 and have more time. So I think everyone has that goal when they, as an artist, you know what I mean? Like they want to um live just making their passion.
Mhm.
And it's really hard,
It
with
is.
everything going on,
Yeah.
like especially with like, inflation and
Mm.
um, all that stuff. And the fact that like, you know what I mean? Like if they create something that no one likes, they're not going to make any money off of that. Or if they don't know the right people, they're not going to make any money off of that. And it's really hard. I went to art school, and pretty much everyone that was very passionate about it in college is now teaching at that art school.
Yeah. This all sort of began as a way for me to augment or sort of differentiate maybe some of my streams, because I've been doing a lot of like live streaming, and I would say that's very much the same, is that you're just sort of doing it and hoping, and doing it and hoping that like you're gonna find the right audience, and that you're creating the right thing at the right time for the right people. And that's always like very hard. Sometimes it's just like because I enjoy doing it. Some days like, oh well, today was, I liked it. And that's it. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes that is the way, and that is you know, some days you just get to do the art, and that is great in its own right. If in
Hmm.
the end then you're like, oh shoot, I made a little bit of money, then that's kind of cool too.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think realistically, is I just want to be able to have more time to do it. And it'd be nice to be able to quit my job and focus on it.
Hmm.
But that's not, it's not always the perfect world.
Not yet,
The
not
perfect world.
yet, but maybe one day, maybe one day.
Mhm.
I like to keep telling myself one day, one day
Yeah,
we'll
one
get
day
there.
your pure joy will be the only thing you do, and hopefully it would be that way for anyone.
Yep.
So,
I think that if you spend enough time focusing on it, and there is always an element of like working at it too, because
yeah.
you just have to keep doing it. You just have to keep getting better at doing this thing you love doing. um is always kind of how I feel. Like I just like, I think that the if it's already something you find joy in, if you get better at doing it, or creating and finding that joy in it, then you will find more joy in it, or continue to find joy in it, and that won't like
Mhm.
depreciate over time. You won't like, it won't stale, it won't get boring. um
Mhm.
that's always been my trouble in life with my like, maybe what I would have called my joys in the past, is that they got stale. And I think it's just because I like accepted that this is what it was, and then it got boring. It was no longer joyful. um
Mhm.
yeah, yeah,
If I could just like work odd jobs, like organizing and painting, and you know what I mean, like
yeah,
doing some work, that would be great.
sure,
That would
yeah,
I mean, I would want to change it up every day. Like I used to bartend, so like with that, like whenever they had events, I used to go work those. I'm like, these are so much fun. It makes my job enjoyable again. But then, like when you're doing the same thing every day,
hmm,
it
yeah,
starts to feel differently.
yeah. Finding a joy in the diversity in your days, right? And that is like a
Mhm.
big bonus of art as well, I would say. Like, you know it- it- i I won't say that it can't get a little tedious sometimes, or a little monotonous to have to paint this one black line over and over again, or just like stitch
Mhm.
by stitch. Sometimes I bet like during a certain line you're like, I wish I was done with this one. And
Mhm.
that's, that is the way of it. But like then you like pull it back and you see the whole picture, and it just, to me, every time I do that, I like, all the frustration with this line has gone out the window, because I like see what the line did for me.
Mhm.
um
And I really like drawing with thread. You know what I mean? Like you can
yeah,
take thread and kind of angle it. You know what I mean? Before you make that stitch, you're like, oh, that's perfect. Like that's the way I need to go. Because you can draw on the fabric and leave yourself an outline, but then like you might be doing it like I think it would look better. Let me hold the string up here. Yes, that would look better if I like switch that line that way. As dorky as it sounds, drawing with thread is like really fun for me because I
right,
can just like kind of plan out each little step and
yeah,
work my way around each shape to make it more realistic that way.
yeah. And it's so much slower going than specifically like drawing, right? Like in
Mhm.
drawing, your line is done now. But in this, in this embroidery, I imagine that the each stitch only brings you a tiny amount of progress on
Oh yeah.
your picture. So
You can kind of see how tiny the stitches are.
okay,
It takes
yeah,
a minute. It
I
depends
do
what kind of
see.
stitch you're doing.
Sure, sure, of course. Is this the front?
Yeah.
What is the back? What does the back look like? Am I able to? Oh,
Oh
you
yeah, I take
finished it.
these you sew it together.
Mhm.
Um into, it's a lot of people call it a butthole, and then you tape it over this to
Yeah.
like, make it a piece of art.
So
And
it
I
doesn't,
actually
yeah,
paint
look like that. Yeah.
things. Uh uh but yeah, I paint my own like rings and wood to make it a little bit more interesting. And some you can put in frames, you can do it in different subjects.
Mhm.
Technically, if I did a big enough embroidery, I can make, a pillow or
What's been your favorite thing to embroider?
So took a break from embroidery. So I did the painting thing, and now I'm back on embroidery. And the first thing I did was a bunch of plants. And now I'm like, you know what? I just like I'm doing the organic, and now I want to do a little bit edgier stuff because I feel like a lot of embroidery is more organic,
Hmm.
So like the
Plants,
candle, like a little bit
leaves.
more edgy, a little bit more like popping on the fabric, a little less traditional. So
Okay, yeah. Yeah, yeah. I like that. I like that a lot. At the beginning, you mentioned that you had two joys that you were interested in,
yes.
and I am also interested in your second joy. Um, why don't you talk to us a little bit about mud wrestling, your hobby that you haven't been able to particularly partake in?
Yeah. So I'm a part of Chicago Mud Queens in Chicago, Illinois. Currently I live in Kentucky, so I have to travel there for it. If you want to see them, they're performing at Sleeping Village on the 30th during the day. So it's a Sunday. So they're performing on the patio. It's hard to find a place that'll let us perform because we're a little bit messy.
Shocker.
Um, I performed at my friend's bar, and he's like, maybe next time we do it outside. And I'm like, that's fine. He's like, there's still paint on the ceiling. I'm like, I'm sorry. Or
So
not mud, sorry.
how did this? I was gonna say, is there paint involved? How did this hobby come about?
It's so funny. Everyone thinks it was like this, like probably this crazy weekend where I ended up becoming a mud queen. But I actually went to brunch with some friends, and these girls were like, "Hey, you want to wrestle?" And I'm like, "When? What day?" And they told me, "I'm like, I don't see why not. I'm not doing anything that day. Makes sense for me." And then everyone thinks we practice. We don't. We don't stage who wins either. Everyone thinks it's like kind of. I mean, we do a little bit of acting with it. You know what I mean? Like
You
we
like
goof around.
like melodramatic style where you like give a
Mhm,
little more.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's an interesting way to wrestle. I would come back for the Halloween show, but I actually hurt myself,
Oh
so I
no.
have to wait. I'm still gonna do it. It's fine. It's like roller derby. You know what I mean? Every
Yeah,
now
I
and then,
mean,
it's
yeah,
like,
so you don't it sounded a little bit you said you like it's hard to find places that allows you to perform. So are the shows a little bit closer to like what I would possibly imagine is like an amateur wrestling match where there's like a stage, people are like watching it's little performed.
yeah, yeah. Yep. So we do a lot of outdoor events. We do some underground events. We do some motorcycle events. We do some at venues, some patios. There's been all kinds of places that we've done it at. Reggie's Rock Club was the main one that we did it at.
Mhm.
And it's not just mud either. Okay. So there's fake blood, there's mud. I know there was spaghetti wrestling at one point. Um, one time we wrestled in fake snow and it was beanbag pellets.
That's pretty fun.
Yeah, it's cool until like one falls out of your belly button like 2 weeks later.
Right, right.
When you're
You're finding
there,
them forever.
just ears. That's the problem too. The mud. It takes like 4 showers to actually get it out of everything, like in your ears and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. What about doing this? It sounds like so you were out to brunch. They asked you if you wanted to come wrestle. You went, and then you found joy. What about doing this and with these folks brings you so much joy?
It's I mean, I get a little stage fright, but this is a way for me to like be on a stage and I'm not paying attention to the audience. I'm just paying attention on like winning and pinning this person's shoulders. So like a little bit about it. We do wrestle on our knees. We don't stand up because if you slip and fall while standing in mud, it could be very bad. So we have to wrestle on our knees. It's a lot safer. We don't try to inflict like, you know, pain on each other, but the goal is to like pin the shoulders, you know, and then that's when you win the round. There's 3 rounds or this, 3 rounds per match. Sometimes 4 if it's stagnant, no one's winning either one. And so it's really tricky to stay up on your knees even. So when you're in the mud, you realize you're sliding everywhere on your knees and you're flipping over and you're flipping the other person over. You're trying to get them to like lose their center of gravity, essentially. So it's hard to make the other person lose their center of gravity. Although I've seen me on stage sometimes and I'm like, how did I do that? How did they do that? I don't even remember that. When did I do that flip?
Just like in the moment entirely.
Yeah, and like we do goofy stuff like my one friend was like, I can't wrestle, you know what I mean? She's like, I'm too out of it. She was, well, can we wrestle for just a little bit? And then you like pretend to choke me out and then drag me off the stage. And I'm like, sure, why not? And so I did it. I had to carry her body off the stage. I got it. It was very far.
I don't feel like wrestling, so we'll do a small performance just for the crowd. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it was really entertaining. But most of the time, you know what I mean? Like we're just really trying to make the other person, and then everyone is also like, do you guys like hate each other? Are you angry? I'm like, no, these are all my really good friends. Like we just like to wrestle. You know what I mean? Like we just like to, you know, drink a few beers and wrestle, and then we all like hang out afterwards.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. It sounds like a good adult version of roughhousing. You get a little bit of that like physical action. I like, you know, I enjoyed wrestling as a kid, and it was half because there's just like a little bit of that like there's like a resistance that you just don't get when there's like not another person involved. Like I feel like you can't get that kind of situation. It's also just fun. Like it's good, energetic fun. And if it's with a friend, it's even, you know, it's you know, taking all of the dark parts out of physical violence. It's just a fun rough housing time. And it sounds like you folks care about each other's safety too, which is a huge part of it.
Yeah, we communicate when we're up on stage, like people can't hear us, but every now and then we'll be like, hey, move this, you know what I mean? Like move this way, you know what I mean? Like we also like try to make it entertaining. We try to like keep the audience engaged. We like sometimes talk to the audience or yell at them, and they were covered in mud too if they're too close. They're just like, yeah. Like I was watching people leave one night. I'm like, oh my goodness. They were just like all like wearing black shirts, but they're all just splattered. Like all over their face and their hair. I'm like, I think they have more mud on them right now than I do. Like
it's a good moment, I think, to like also just like not care. I like I don't particularly love being like dirty when I'm trying to not be dirty, right? But in a moment to just like not care and kind of go wild in this mud, or you know, I guess that would probably be is that the most messy that things get? Is the mud?
Yeah, I'd say the mud's most messy.
I can't imagine that fake snow gets a lot more, you know, messy.
No, you can sweep that up at least. I haven't done the spaghetti wrestling.
I'll take it back. Spaghetti wrestling feels a bit messier to me.
It's funny because this one girl, she's like, you know, we stopped to do things and engage the audience. She's like, I took a handful of the spaghetti and put it in my mouth and immediately spit it back up because it was so bad.
It's not made for the taste.
She was like, that was such a bad idea.
Yeah, no, that's person noodles.
That's person
noodles. That's person spaghetti. Oh my goodness. So how long have you been doing mud wrestling as a hobby?
I started about a year before the pandemic, and then we didn't, of course, wrestle that whole time. Did
Mm,
a lot of Zoom calls, started to get back into it, and now I'm out because but I want to be there. It's gonna be so much fun.
have you traveled
Um,
to back to Chicago for an event or any of it since?
yeah, yeah, I was back there August 26th. We did a show at Reggie's, so I was there for that one. That one's always really fun. And that's when, yeah, that's the last time I was in Chicago too. So I'd make
Yeah.
more trips. It's only a 5-hour drive, so it's not too bad from Louisville to Chicago.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I always think about, get out of even if I have a car, I always think about like out of state as like almost off limits when I'm thinking of like where do I need to go. But when you think of like most things are very, very close. I think I grew up in Texas where every like out of state was legitimately like 14 hours from the middle of Texas almost or whatever. It's a long time. It's not like traveling over a couple states anywhere else besides California. Um
Louisville is interesting because like Indiana's like across the bridge.
mhm,
You know what I mean?
mhm.
And so like you can go to like Indianapolis or Cincinnati in like an hour, hour and a half, Lexington, like Nashville's like 2.5 hours away.
Yeah.
So there's like so much you can do here if you wanted. You could travel just for the weekend to see a new city, which is really nice.
Yeah.
Whereas Chicago is close to Milwaukee. It's like an hour away from Milwaukee.
Yeah.
And then other than that, you had to drive a little bit further to get places.
Yeah, to get, I guess like anywhere outside of the city. The bonus at least is that there is enough to do here for the
Oh
most
yeah,
part.
so
Um
much.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely.
I am fortunate to be here and to travel, and I do want to come back to Chicago for Mud Queens, but I will wait till next season. Also around October we stop because it gets too cold to like hose yourself down off in an alley.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
we have
that makes sense. That makes sense. It gets kind of cold outside. I was like, but you just sort of mud wrestle indoors, but I guess like if that's how you folks, if that's the
rinse off.
post, right, exactly, then no. I can't be
Yeah.
maybe rinsing off in the snow.
Yeah, it's really we usually rinse off in an alley. Some people like you don't want us to shower in your shower. Like one shower at home is fine, but like we don't shower at these events because there's so much mud that if like 15 girls showered, they'd be like our sink is drained, like clogged, our shower's clogged because all these women rinse themselves off in the shower. Um, but yeah, we hose off in an alley. A trough is there too, like a feeding trough full of water that we bathe in.
Yes.
Uh, I've rinsed off in a hillbilly hot tub before too.
Okay, like a wash tub, like a big steel wash tub?
Nope, a truck with a tarp in the back and then filled with
Oh.
water.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
Hillbilly hot tub.
That feels like it was that someone like at the event had brought that?
Yeah, there was two of them. Like one of those guys isn't with us. I'm like, but he brought one and it's clean. No one else has used it.
Heck yeah, that's the way to go.
Uh, this was at like a motorcycle party,
Mhm.
of course. That's when we do motor oil wrestling, but it's just like dyed mud. You know what I mean? To make it look black and like
Okay,
use
cool,
motor oil.
safe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
We're now actually wrestling and use motor oil.
Good. I hope they don't
It's
think
very
that you are.
painful.
It's got to be a different smell too, to
Yeah.
mud, to motor oil.
And it's gonna be harder to wash off. You really need some like soap for that. Like
It's like bad for you. That's bad for you. That mud is it can be fine for your skin. Motor oil cannot be fine for your skin.
that was my favorite too, because like I was first and I'm covered in mud. And this little old guy in his like cut off denim shorts, a denim vest, no shirt, and a cowboy hat and cowboy boots comes. He's like, I got you, sugar, and pours dish soap in my hair and rubbing it as he's hosing me
Oh,
down. I'm
because
like,
it'll
thanks,
help with the
sir.
oil. Yep, that's funny.
With the mud, and then like I jump in the hillbilly hot tub. It's actually really warm. It was really nice.
Take it. I'll take it. I'll take it. I mean,
Mhm,
a tarp is pretty good at like holding that heat in, I feel.
mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Are there do you folks play characters while you're doing this? Is it
Yeah,
like
we have wrestling names, we have intros, we have bands that, like, pick out songs for us sometimes and play them as we come on
s-
stage. Yeah,
what's your wrestling name?
it's Britney Bitch, and I wrestle as Britney Spears.
Yes. Is that kind of a through line? Is it a lot of like poppy m- m- I don't want to use the word knockoffs, but like you know that inspired. There's the word I'll use. Is it like kind of like pop culture inspired or
I definitely have a lot of Britney Spears costumes at my house. I may have been a little drunk when I came up with my name. Uh,
yes. That's the
I could
best
always
way.
come up with another one,
Mhm.
but it's fun to be a pop star. Everyone loves me. One time I was announcing and I was so anxious and I was just like, sorry guys, I'm just a little anxious. Like I've been in court all week. And they're like, you're going for it. They're just like screaming at
You're
me. We got your back.
not That's great. That's incredible.
Yeah.
What do you have like a do you have does Britney bitch have a rival among the Mud Queens?
No, we might have something in the works, so for future reference.
Wow,
Um,
incredible.
I got we have like our title matches. So at the end, it's for a belt. Like we make a belt and
Mhm.
that's usually the match on the poster too, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, yeah.
and they're like rivals for that match. So that's usually when it happens.
Oh, okay, okay. Has Brittany ever been in a title match?
No,
No?
not yet. Someday.
Someday. Okay, that's exciting. That's really exciting. That's very fun. That's very fun. A good way to like also just like stay physically active and like be,
Oh yeah. Gets
like
that adrenaline going and
yeah, absolutely. A full workout hands down.
yeah, because once you get to wrestling, like you don't pay attention to anyone else really. You're just trying to stay up and you're trying to shove that person in the mud,
Do you
maybe go cry with them.
did you find yourself doing any sort of like training in your own time when you were here doing it?
No, I mean, I try to stay active and like
Sure.
exercise and try to build up strength, and I at least have the will to not go down as quickly.
Yeah.
I'm fighting, struggling, just sliding around, trying to stay up
Your
and
best weapon
fall.
is your will. I love that.
I've been told I'm not the easiest person to fight. At least try.
Good, good. It would be much worse if they had told you you are the easiest person to fight.
I never win. That's okay though.
You have fun. That's
Yeah,
the biggest part.
you get the pure joy. You don't need the winning if you have the joy.
It's true. It's absolutely true. That's good. That's good. You have it sounds like one joy that you are, maybe more adept at. Maybe that's just because of like your your history with it. You've been doing it for such a long time that always will bring um
Mhm.
a little bit more of like a masterful eye upon it. And then you have another one that you just really enjoy doing. You don't have to be the best at something to enjoy doing it. And that is
Yeah.
I think a big thing about joy. Is it I think that in every episode I will mention, and I think I did it already, is that the better you are at your joy, and really what I mean by that, I think, is the more immersed you are in your joy, the more joy you will find out of it. And the more
Mhm.
immersed you are in really anything, the just overall better you get. The more that you do this thing, the better you will become at doing this thing. Um, but in the time in which you're not like adept at doing a thing, you can still find joy in just like doing it. It isn't about winning all the time. I like that. Yeah.
It's like it's the wrestling is we all just come together. We're all goofy. We all help each other get ready. You know what I mean? Like we all help each other with the elaborate face paint or costume issues we might be having, and and then we talk every time beforehand. There's always like really good bands. I guess the best part, and we should be, I should have said this to begin with. We do it for charity. We don't get paid for it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's all these women coming together to get dirty for charity, and it's awesome to have. Everyone brings their own costumes.
Yeah.
Everyone, finds a way there, sets up, breaks down. We don't have a team. We're not getting paid for it. Um, we use the money to cover the mud, and then we donate the rest to Chicago Women's Health Center. So,
That is incredible. So it isn't even in the end about making money or getting another event so that we're paid a little bit more. It's just about doing a thing you folks enjoy doing together and getting to help out other people.
mhm.
That's absolutely stellar. That's absolutely stellar. So one joy we have I guess joys on the opposite side of the coin here. One joy that you enjoy using
Mhm.
to make a little bit of a profit, and one joy that you don't use for that in any form or fashion. Um,
Yeah.
you make it for other folks. It's absolutely incredible. Yeah, absolutely. Well,
So,
hitting yeah.
oh,
Nope.
sorry. So, yeah, and it feels good to like provide for like Chicago Women's Health Center. So,
Yeah, I mean I think that that is very important. I think there it goes a long way, especially in the here in the city of Chicago. Women's health is not very um focused upon, taking action to help with in any form or fashion. And maybe the quite opposite, it seems, as of recent events. So that is
mhm.
absolutely incredible that that you're able to use your joy to help out with something that is also important to you, I imagine.
Mhm.
Not that you've said that, but I can kind of pick it up from this conversation.
Mhm.
So yeah, absolutely. Is there anything about either of these, like having this artistic eye and getting to use it in your own life, or mud wrestling, that we haven't talked about, that like brings you joy in these topics, or
trying
want to talk about?
trying to think. I mean, it's just, one, I'm making friends and I'm having a great time and I'm doing something active, and it's not often as an adult you have this opportunity to get dirty in the mud. You know what I mean? Like
It's true, yeah.
it's like a little kid thing, and like I get to relive that part and donate to an awesome charity. And there's one I can do every yet, day. I don't have to have an event, Med Queens, we have events.
Hmm.
Um and so we set that up. And like so like just like having a passion to someday get out of this like 9 to 5 life, this technology life, you know what I mean? So I have
Yeah.
the two different ones. Like I have my future career and my path forward, and then I have this thing I do on the side that's really awesome to make great friends and have great memories. And so it's kind of like my hobby and my joy. I have two of these really big things in my life.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. I had kind of mentioned to you at the beginning that this was the first episode where I didn't know your topic beforehand. And on top of that, it was the first episode where I think we had like two separate topics. But I
Yeah.
enjoyed it. I think that we got to talk a little bit about each one in a nice like opening way.
Yeah, it's weird. So one of them's more, it's just these two. This one I don't do this often that I would like to do more,
Hmm.
and then there's this one that I really push myself to try to do every day, every week. There's the one that encompasses my life. I mean, honestly, if I could, I would, wrestle more, but
Sure.
I don't think I'm meant for like the pro wrestling. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm that physically fit for the pro wrestling. If that could be my pure joy, that would be really awesome because I love wrestling in general. Just watching it is really entertaining. But I kind of get to do that with the mud wrestling, just a little bit of a taste of what it would be like to be that way. And really, I just want my art is like my future. I want it to be, the reason I wake up every day to create art for people, or, pick out colors and paint and like liven up a space and make it look like something new and happy and transforming stuff. Um, Even if it's just with organization. Like I love organizing. Like it's just like one of those little OCD habits I have where I'm just going around
Yeah, yeah.
with all the stuff all the time.
I I mean, I think that it's great. It sounds like that you're finding joy in just overall being an artist and all of the branches of that, right? Like, because this is in the end performance art. It is
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
you are mud wrestling, but there's a performance behind it.
Hmm.
It's um
Yeah. You gotta like try to interact with the audience. You gotta like say stuff on the fly and you gotta get
yeah,
creative with how you
yeah.
move around.
And then overact it, show extra pain or extra glory
Yeah.
in times of good or bad outcomes. And
And
then
it have to
you have
interact.
arts where you work with your hands in a small way with embroidery, in a tiny way with embroidery, and then in a larger
Mhm.
like way with ways that you like to interior design your space and really like kind of craft the world around you. It seems.
Mhm.
Um yeah, I think that really it's just all kind of branching arms of being an artist, which I find intriguing.
Yeah, when you start like art college, you think you only have to have one, pure joy, one form of art,
Yeah.
which would have been painting. And, over time you learn there's other ways to perceive art in your life. Um, Creating a beautiful space, stitching. It's not traditional art, Some people might just think it's like, a hobby,
Hmm.
like but you can take the thread, you can manipulate it to create new content. You can freehand it. You can, customize it. So there's all different ways to kind of branch out from art and artistic, like joy. And these things bring me joy, and they're all in like, kind of my art. It sounds weird to call like, interior design organizing my art, but it is like an art because
Yeah.
like some people are not never going to see that way to envision that space until you show them.
Oh, I mean, I'll give you that. Like, really, it's just that not everybody's space is interior designed. But like when you see a space that has been thoughtfully designed, it is like so much more clear than just someone who like put the furniture in a good space. It all meshes. It gives you like a full connection as you look across the space, and that is absolutely incredible. There's like all sorts of like different TV shows we've been watching recently where like lots of different people we get to see inside their homes. It's not about seeing inside their homes, they're just doing the interview inside their homes, and you can see like I didn't even need this person to tell me they're an interior designer. When we did the first few shots of their home, we were like, holy cow, that place is beautiful. It isn't a big house, it isn't a big condo apartment. It was a tiny apartment, couple bedrooms, but it was gorgeous, and like and you knew it immediately that like he had an eye for that, and that was important to him. Um, so yeah, even if it's not like other people's space, it's your space, and you're the one that gets to like see it every day, or has to see it every day, really. Um,
And I feel like also interior design for like me and like art for me is like taking like right now I'm redesigning my friend's house, which once I get the Instagram, it'll be up on there. Like I'll show you the befores and after. Is taking the things that he loves and incorporating it, you know what I mean? And like
mhm.
taking the things that this person is passionate about and creating a space for them that they're happy to come home to and that just
That Matt
blows their mind when they walk in.
kind of
And
matches the energy that they are after.
mhm.
Yeah, that's absolutely fantastic. That's I mean, that's really just like the best way I think to go about designing the interior, right? It's also not just about creating a good design, but the design has to mesh with the person that it's being designed for.
Yeah. Like not everyone's gonna want little knickknacks everywhere that I have. Or I have like an art wall in my office of like all these small pieces of art I've collected over the years, and
Mhm.
it looks like a little museum in there. Not everyone's gonna want that, but for me, it brings me a lot of joy.
Right, that's for you. That's for you
Mhm.
stuff.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that is. I think that the two joys you've brought are interesting. I think I've been saying that they're like two sides of a different coin, but in another way they are, is because like one is, while you do sell it, it sounds like a little bit in some form of it, maybe a little bit more for you.
Mhm,
You can sell it in the end, but that isn't necessarily why you start to do it. And while you enjoy mud wrestling, it sounds like that might be a little bit more for others. Like the end result goes to others, besides
mhm.
the joy that you find for yourself.
It
Um,
is a lot of fun.
Yet another interesting way to look at them. But I do think that we're gonna start to wrap up and call to a close here. But this was wonderful chatting with you. I don't know that we have ever sat down and had this long of a conversation, so this was a lovely time.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh, yeah." I'm surprised, I've been in your house. I've been up there with Kenneth.
Yeah, I mean, I think like I think I just always used that time. I was like, oh, you have a friend coming over, then I will use this time to execute upon all these things I need to do, rather than just like relaxing like I should have done. But yeah, I just like you always use that time to just finish projects.
I think
Um,
you're in the same spot you're in now when I'm whenever I'm there.
yeah, I mean, I still kind of just use that time to finish projects. That happened again. She brought over a friend from work that she's gotten really close with, and I was in the basement the whole time. Not even because I like didn't even realize the time had come and gone that her friend was coming over, and I was like, she already gone? Yeah, she was only here for a little bit. Like, oh well, dang, okay, well, that was on me this time.
He was
Uh
here for 3 hours.
Right, exactly. I just lose track of time. But it was good
Nobody was
talking with
right.
you. And this was a lovely conversation too. I enjoyed talking about both these topics very much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I'll send you little updates as they happen. And if yeah,
If you
absolutely.
need more, just let me know. Like I said, I'm gonna brainstorm all week long. We'll see what happens.
For sure,
Uh,
for sure. We'll come up with some design names. I can get them rolling
yeah.
about the whole house. We have a roommate,
Yeah.
and me and Kenna can kind of bounce things back and forth and come up with some ideas. And if you don't use them and use them as a bouncing board, even better, right? Uh,
Yeah,
we'll
as
help
long
you
as
get a website up and running, and if possible, we'll throw it into the link in the description at the end of
absolutely.
the edit.
Yeah.
So,
No worries.
great
Yeah, thanks for having
conversation,
me. It
and
was fun to talk.
yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
cool.
Thanks for having me. It was great to talk.
Of course, of course. We'll talk a little bit later.
All right.
All right,
And
catch you later.
thanks, everyone.
As is it gonna go? Wait, hello? There it goes. I don't know why I got stuck up there. Thank you, folks. Thank you so much for coming to join on this, the 11th episode of the PureJoy Podcast. Today, my guest, Bethany Ann, her two joys, one of which, mud wrestling, the other sounds like just being an artist, having an artistic eye, and being able to use that in both her like providing for herself as well as just like finding joy in her daily life. Absolutely incredible. I think that it's very important to look for ways to use our artistic and creative eyes in our lives, especially in our daily lives. Um, so yes, absolutely. I think that right on brand. Gots to love art. If you peek around the room, you can see the paintings behind me. There's more above the camera on the wall, but we're facing like art and art by artists is like some of my favorite ways to go about adding art into the house. So lovely. And mud wrestling, not a topic I ever thought we would have here. But absolutely incredible. A performance art in the mud, providing for Chicago women's health is stellar. Not just a way to go out have fun, but also like provides to a community. Absolutely incredible. I'd like to give a few thank yous here at the end of the episode, and then we will talk dates, folks. First, thank you to My Own Eyes and Murda for allowing me to use their music in the intro, the outro, as well as the transitions in between. I'm very appreciative of them for allowing me to use their music. You will be able to find their information down below in the description. I want to thank my guest Bethany Ann for coming out, making time to have a this to come on the podcast and I can't even say the sentence. I want to thank Bethany Ann for coming out to appear on the podcast, making the time to come and join us for this interview. I want to thank Maya and Eisenberta, and I thank Bethany. I think that's it, folks. I think them's my thanks and them's the episode. So thank you for coming out to join on the 11th episode of the PureJoy Podcast. Make sure that you check us. This episode will be posted on the 16th of this month. The next episode, folks, will be recorded live on the 23rd of October, and then you'll be able to find that on your podcatchers and YouTube on October 30th, the day before Halloween. So keep a lookout. That episode will be very important to me. Keep your eyes open for all the info to come out about it soon. I'm very excited for this next one. So yes, thank you everyone for coming out to join. We'll see you next time.